Now, if you want to analyze the returns in more depth, click on returns performance and it will take you to some more interesting details about the fund. On the returns performance page, you will see more details of the performance of the fund over 10 years in this table, and you can also see the CAGR performance and the fund return seems to be green over the last 9 years, 5 years, which is pretty nice. You can also see the NAV charts and you can choose dates to see more details, and here you can see an important dimension which is on the drawdown and recovery period. Drawdown is basically telling us how much did the fund fall compared to the index, its benchmark index, and you can see it is largely been lower than the index except in this period, which is almost the same. The next is how long did it take to recover as compared to the index, and you can see that it is taken substantially less time in this period to recover compared to the index. Same here, and almost the same time to recover in this period. So it gives you an idea that this fund tends to draw down lesser than the index and recover faster, which you would expect from a well-managed fund. This upside and downside capture ratio is an important table to see, and when you see this, you see again in comparison to the index how it has done when the markets went up, which is the first row, and how it fared when the markets went down. And as you can see, lower numbers on the downside percentages indicates that this fund tends to do better in falling markets or bearish markets. As you can see in Boleto, you will see that the fund is likely to perform well in falling markets. So that's the insight that you can get about this fund from the performance page. There are some comparisons with peers which you can see at the bottom of this page. Now coming to analyzing risk, which is something that you need to do before you invest, you can click on the risk analyzer. On the risk analyzer page, you will first see the portfolio, and it has almost 97% in stocks and 3% in debt. And when you click on this, you will see the entire portfolio that it has, the percentage allocated to the stocks, the quality of the stocks, which you can see from the Moneyworks4me color coding, and that tells you the entire fund's portfolio. When you click on risk, you can see the various risks that it carries, and you can see that the portfolio strength is 5, which is pretty much okay for a mid-cap fund, but it has a very large portion which is overvalued. You can see which stocks in it tend to be having a downside potential, and this is an important thing to see because this portfolio has a downside potential of 14 or 15%, which makes it pretty much not the right time to invest today. Individual risk you can see by clicking one of the tabs here. Coming to portfolio quality, another important page to check the fund on. On this page, you can see the underlying asset quality over the years, and you can see the composition of stocks in terms of green, orange and red, and compare it with the index. Obviously the index has got a lot more red stocks than the fund. On the right hand side, you'll see the cap versus quality matrix, which tells us how the fund's portfolio compares with the benchmark. Two more important things to see are in the portfolio, what are the top 10 holdings, and here you can see that these are the stocks which are the top 10 holdings, and they are substantially different most of the time from the benchmark. You can see what the benchmark holds as the top 10, and many of these are not in the fund. So these are the decisions that the fund manager has taken, and when you look at it from a sector point of view, you can see that the benchmark has 35% in BFSI and the fund manager has chosen to reduce it to 25%. Whereas on the auto sector it is 14 versus the benchmark of 10. And here you can see that the fund is being actively managed. There are differences in sector-wise holding of the fund versus the index. So these are very important things that you can analyze from the mutual fund pages. And if you want to see some details about the fund, you need to see the fund overview. Here you can see that the fund was started in June 2007, the benchmark, turnover ratio, and what is the minimum SIP, exit load of 1% for 1 year, nil thereafter. So these are important things. Another important thing is to see who is the fund manager, that you can see here, and what is the objective of this fund. So that concludes how you analyze a fund looking at Moneyworks4me mutual fund pages. There are two other important things we can do here. One is compare, and that's done by clicking this tab, and you can add it to your portfolio or your watch list and manage your portfolio. If you have any questions, you can always ask us on Pucho Befikar, and we'll be happy to answer your queries. Thank you.